Congressional Institute. I want to go through what I watched today, over an hour of Donald J. Trump yesterday, and why you should heed what was said there. And I'm going to go through big ones that affect Canada, and we're not going to get out of it. It's not going to be gone. Now, a lot of people have said, oh, a lot of what Trump says is just rhetoric. It's just him spouting off. And there is some truth to that, but the way that truth is being presented is misinformation. And what that means is clearly this. The majority Congress and Senate Trump has currently right now hasn't been seen by Republicans in this manner since 1828. And in fact, it was Democrats who held a Democrat presidency, Democrat House and Senate. And this time it's Republicans in these key areas. There's promises Trump made that he can do in presidential powers. And then there's promises that can be achieved through Congress and Senate. Why he makes a lot of threats the way he's made them is because there's things he can do as president alone, forcing upon Congress and Senate. And then there's things he can get done with his presidency in conjunction with House and Senate. When he talks about NATO and ending NATO, why would that be? Well, they don't pay for one, but there's more than just that. If you're going to do sweeping tariffs that he went through in the Congressional Institute, you should all watch that. Watch it through and through. When he says 25% tariffs on Canada, that's on average. Some are going to see as high as 100%, like maybe automotives. I don't say that's what it's going to be, but maybe. It's clearly what he's going to do to Mexico, the promise of 100% tariffs on automotives to bring work back to places like Detroit. How does that affect Ontario? Doesn't take a rocket scientist to put 1 and 1 together equals 2. It's going to affect Canada no differently than Mexico. He has a great hope the Canadians will wake up, that they'll apply for statehood, and enough tariffs placed upon Canada, they will wake up. There's things that people say, and our media has told you, and Canadian politicians have told you on the news, in big interviews. They know, these opinion news journalists know, without an ounce of fact. All I checked against AI, and all I checked against historical records to make sure that when I give this presentation and these statements made in the Congressional Institute by President Donald J. Trump for the Republican majority Congress, Republican majority Senate, were factual. And they are. Every ounce of what he said in that presentation, I painstakingly went through to make sure it was deadly accurate. Folks, World War I was alluded to the reason why we have income taxes. That's not true. It was McKinsey whose tariffs kept income taxes off of Americans. Globally, Canada had a different trade relationship then with the United States. We are much more institutionalized now, much more in raw resources, much more absolutely in energy. And what he proposed is what McKinsey ran, as he accurately stated, factual, undeniable in those years, 1887 to 1913, where no American paid any income tax, none whatsoever. That's all true, because we were paying 40% tariffs. They went down to 25, and then down to 17, and then currently right now we're at 10%. He says on average we're going up to 25%. The news media tells you that there are so many products, USA has no choice but to trade USA for. No choice. They're adamant. No choice. Well, folks, that's where rhetoric like leaving NATO comes into play, or holding a breach of NATO over a country like Canada in the name of national security, where Canada hasn't paid its NATO commitments for a very, very long time and isn't looking like going to be able to pay them for an even longer time after that. Because if you can't get your procurement from the United States, you got nothing. You saw Black Hawk helicopters. Does Canada make those, or does USA? And on and on and on. Anytime we've ever had a chance at any kind of procurement, folks, we've thrown it away. We've sunken it at the bottom of our Great Lakes. Fact, you can look that up too. Canada always somehow throws away all their stuff, or even sells it for pennies on the dollar to foreign interests. Who does that benefit? Well, certainly not Canadians, whose tax dollars went into making all that. Who did it benefit? It benefited your politicians in their back pocket. Trump's ending all that. Everything he said is true. And if you don't trust the Congressional Institute, you should, because every president who speaks of that, every single 4 years right after being elected, those are the mandates that they follow through on. Those are the things you see Congress and Senate debate when they pass bills. You can be rest assured the next major bill that the Republicans are going to pass, likely, they're going to have a few, but coming in short order, matching tariffs, are going to be no income tax on all overtime of employees in the United States. They're going to get addicted to that right away, folks. No taxes on tips. No longer jokes. These things are coming right away, right quick in the United States of America. In Congress, passed through Senate, and via, to make sure, presidential orders, presidential treaties, presidential changes to treaties in the name of national security. You've already seen 2 executive orders in the name of national security, national emergencies. If you don't think that affects Canada in a huge explosive way, you're sadly mistaken. We are bound to USA in so much exports that generate our tremendous wealth. Under those tariffs, we will be replaced. In that congressional meeting, he goes through things like the Philippines, their best friend in the Asian world. Where do you think aluminum nickel can be replaced from Canada? Where? Well, it's the Philippines. They have a larger share than you do, Canada. Submarine nickel? Don't think so. Philippines. USA has a tremendous relationship with the Philippines. Their English is very good. People should know this in Canada. If you know any Filipinos, they do very well of all the Asian world. Why? Because of their history at the United States during colonialism and imperialism. They've maintained those relationships. They will expand it outside of NATO. That is their strongest relationship in all of Asia. And if they want to make a point to Canada, they will. There's many other nations here, many other nations that are not China, that are not infused with China. The USA will utilize. They've got 106 trading packs. We have 15, most of which are with all those countries USA lists. That's Canada's alternative. What do you think Canada's going to do? What do you think Canada's going to do, folks? Not hard to figure out. Canada has a choice. USA or China and BRICS. If that's what you think we're going to win at, I think you're sadly mistaken. I think that's a surefire way to become communist or full-on civil law socialist. And I don't think Canadians are prepared for that reality. First Nations don't exist in any of those realities. You don't. In fact, the strongest position you have is in the United States of America alone. That's it. That's it. Canada, much, much weaker. If you missed Robinson Huron, I don't know what to tell you. That's my video. Explosive, huge, needs to be shared. Need to go watch the full video. This is coming. This is going to be reality. We're going to be replaced one way or another. Tariffs or no tariffs. That's the direction of America. Huge implications for our energy. And if you think you can survive 10 years and then jump on the BRICS nations and that's going to work out, you're sadly mistaken. Not going to happen. That's my video. Share. Gotta go in a major blizzard here. Brutal. I know.